Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. In my first video of the day, I sort of highlighted that there was a problem with retaining and keeping people and getting people to come to Scotland because of the huge differential in taxes between Scotland and England. And this is the story that I was going to be doing on it, you see. So it goes to show that I do put some thought into the order of these things. We don't want to put them 1, 2, 3. So I threw a little bit of the actors and the lovies in the middle. But we'll just round off this treble, if you will, about the tax situation with this story. Because you have experts now, professors, saying that it's going to be a problem. Now, this particular one, Professor David Bell, is someone who is infinitely cleverer than anyone in the SNP. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. He's saying these things because they happen to be true. We can all see it. We're not all professors, but we're not as stupid as anyone in the SNP either, which is always a plus, I think. And so he's saying that it will stop people coming into Scotland. It could drive people out of Scotland, and that even the ones who stay because of some sense of duty, perhaps, will certainly change their actions and what they will do in order to avoid paying as much tax as possible. And he will know this because he, of course, is the expert. Let's have a look and see what he's saying. Here goes. So, SNP are warned that higher taxes could lead to failure to attract talented people like doctors to Scotland. And we've said this from day one. Once you start increasing these taxes, particularly at the level at which doctors would get paid, either doctors just won't come, the ones that are here may leave and go south to England, or the ones that do stay will just not put the hours in. When you're getting 70% of the money you're earning taken away to the government, why would you bother? What is the point? Anyway, Professor David Bell warned it may be a struggle for Scotland to attract high earners to the country due to the higher taxes. And this is weeks after Shona Robison chose to hike them up, even though she was told in advance doing so would be incredibly dangerous, damaging and stupid. But of course, that sums her up in 3 simple words, doesn't it? The Scottish Government has been warned about the numerous downfalls with its plan to hike up taxes in Scotland, as an economist warned that it would deter talented migrants like doctors from heading north of the border. Professor David Bell also pointed out that workers could choose to do less shifts, I think they mean fewer shifts, in order to pay less tax to the state. Yeah, because, as I say, why would you put all that extra effort in if you knew that 70% of it would be taken away from you? You know, it's just not worth it. And by the time you're on that kind of pay anyway, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing it for? Anyway, a spokesman for Humza Yousaf pointed to evidence that inward migration to Scotland had actually increased since devolution across the entire demographic. Yes, from 25 years ago, it'll be 25 years of devolution, won't it? And of course, the world population has nearly doubled in that time. So yes, there's going to be more people coming in, but they won't necessarily be the top people, will they? Anyway, this meaning that this included working age people getting there. It said, however, he was unable to split the numbers up into how much they earned, meaning it could be an influx of those making less than £28,000 a year, and therefore not adding a single penny in terms of excess taxation to the economy. Finance Secretary Shona Robison caused anger when she announced more tax hikes for the richest and the middle classes during her budget. Well, they've got to get the money from somewhere because they've made such a pig's ear of the economy and everything is sort of falling apart. So they think that raising taxes to this level at this point is a good idea, rather than, say, growing the economy, which is the easiest and best way to increase the entire tax base. Anyway, she created this new tax band between 75,000 and 125, which will be 45%, and the Scottish top rate of tax itself advanced by 1 percentage point to 48%. And there was also fiscal dragging as well, which meant that they didn't increase the rate at which those new taxes come in. So if people naturally get like increases, it means more and more of them are increasingly falling into ever higher tax bands. Concerns were raised even among nationalists about the impact of these on growing the economy, as it widened the tax divide with England and Wales even further, as we mentioned in the first video. Someone in Scotland who earns £50,000 pays £1,500 a year more in income tax than their English and Welsh peers, £2,100 more on earnings of £75,000 or more, and £3,350 on £100,000. And if you're at the top end, £5,230 if you earn £125,000. That's not your tax. That's just the increase in tax. It gets very, very greedy. And yet what good does it do? It makes such a tiny, tiny hole in the economy because they've got this 2,000 million to find, and they reckon at best they're going to find 84 million with this. But what they're going to find also is that people leave, or people don't come, people stay away, and all that talent that you desperately need isn't there. Like I say, out of the 2,000 million you need, it's such a tiny, tiny amount. Better off to grow the economy, bring people in naturally and grow the economy, and that way your tax take grows organically. Anyway, Professor Bell appeared in front of the Finance Committee on Holyrood on Tuesday and explained that there are a number of ways with those earning more would dodge this, and it was something to be concerned about, especially due to the SNP needing to grow the economy. But of course, if you're losing all these experts and all this talent, the economy doesn't grow because the talent isn't there to grow it. He said, we're talking about the top end of the income distribution here. He said, but it's nevertheless true that the top end of the income distribution matters a lot as far as income tax revenues are concerned, as they massively and disproportionately contribute towards the total tax revenue. He says behavioural response is very complicated, and there's a sort of response with people not being willing to take a promotion, for example, or maybe working less. There's the migration response, which is about people maybe not coming to Scotland, which is very difficult to calibrate. He said, and there's a third issue, which is around what matters as far as income tax is concerned, about how much we're raising, the net position as far as the block grant adjustment is. Oh, are we ahead of it or are we behind? Because here's the thing as well. They raise so much tax that they've increased their income from taxation. Their block grant reduces from Westminster. But these geniuses that are controlling Scotland don't understand all this. He pointed to evidence published by the Scottish Fiscal Commission, who said that while it could bring in 180 million, it won't. This is without behavioural change, and the true figure is estimated to be about 80 million. We previously told how SNP ministers are only properly probing this effect after announcing the hikes, because they didn't believe what people were telling them. People were telling them it's not going to bring in 180 million because people will stop doing overtime, people start moving their capital, people will leave, and it doesn't take many to leave, and you're not only losing the uplift tax, you're losing everything below that uplift. It's going to add up a lot very quickly. A spokesman for the First Minister pointed to net emigration being positive to Scotland since tax was devolved 2016. He added the budget is not the first where there have been far higher taxes, and what David Bell has suggested could happen is the opposite of what has happened over the last few years. Yeah, but you've never had them as high as they are now, and over the last few years it's affected so relatively few people. Now you're getting teachers getting caught into higher tax brackets. You're getting policemen caught into higher tax brackets. These are normal people. We're not talking the very ultra rich here. You're talking normal people. A government spokesperson said the Scottish Government's tax policies are grounded in evidence and carefully balance the need to raise revenue with the impact on taxpayers and the economy. No, they don't. They were numbers clutched at straws. Desperate numbers by a desperate woman who does not understand the economy and has never heard of the Laffer curve. They said the Scottish Government continues to work with stakeholders such as HMRC to develop the evidence base on potential behavioural change. Interim results of this ongoing research were shared with ministers to support policy decisions. Again, that smacks of bullshit. There's no way she did this knowingly. And it makes such a tiny, tiny difference to the numbers. and yet it's going to have a massive, massive effect on Scotland. And it's just crazy. We all know it's crazy. They can't accept that it's crazy, so they come up with all, we talked about this, we did that, and it isn't true at all. And this Professor David Bell, he's banged the nail on the head, hasn't he? Absolutely got it. Because people will change. You will. You'll see it. Like I say, some won't come, some will leave, others will significantly change how they arrange their tax affairs. And it won't raise anywhere near the money that Shona Robison needs to help fix the massive hole in the budget. A hole which, of course, was caused by her and Humza and all the other clowns in the biggest circus in the world. Coming up. So stand back and watch over the next 6 months to a year, over the course of the next year, let's say, as there'll be lower tax takes than expected. The deficit will increase. People will leave. Fewer people will come. There will be a shortage of specialists in whatever field you choose to select, in medicines or in engineering and things like that, and teaching. Because those who start earning that kind of money will start seeing the big tax increases and decide that, perhaps moving south of the border would be better. They'd pay less tax. There'd be less problems. It's a bigger economy. And then, of course, that tax hole grows bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually it gets beyond a sort of a tipping point, an inflection point, where it just becomes so big it's unsolvable and the whole system crashes and burns. I have a feeling that they're actually doing it deliberately so that whoever comes after them cannot fix it. It seems to be the only logical explanation for it. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. We've got more videos coming, but that should be the end of the tax one for today anyway. We will take a look. I've got a couple of police one, or at least one police one coming up. And then we've got a legal one coming. We've got a medical one coming. All sorts of different subjects because they fail in so many different areas, don't they? But anyway, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.